Biracial children tend to display identification problems when they internalize outside prejudices and values. Young children's reference group observation attitudes are not yet developed, so their identity is primarily based on personal identity factors such as self-esteem and feelings of self-worth within their primary reference group. Second, choice of group categorization. Youth at this stage are pushed to choose an identity, usually of one ethnic group. Numerous factors can influence the child's identity choice, i.e. status, social support, personal. It would be unusual for an individual to choose a multi-ethnic identity because this requires a level of knowledge of multiple ethnicities, races, and cultures, and a level of cognitive development beyond that which is characteristic of this age group. The third step is enmeshment denial. This stage is characterized by confusion and guilt at having to choose one identity that is not fully expressive of one's background. Biracial youth may experience alienation at the choice stage and make a choice even if they are uncomfortable with it. The fourth step is appreciation. Individuals at this stage begin to appreciate their multiple identity and broaden their reference group orientation. They might begin to learn about their racial, ethnic, cultural heritages, but they still tend to identify with one group. The fifth step, integration. Individuals at this stage experience wholeness and integration. They tend to recognize and value all of their racial and ethnic identities. At this level, biracial youth develop a secure, integrated identity.
Ozzy was black and she was white, and now they got a biracial child, and that was good. And when the children go to school, that racist teacher he ridiculed, that wasn't good. He said, are you black, are you white? And to a child that isn't right, it wasn't good. He's got no clue, his name was Clocks. He was a man, ain't from the clan, it wasn't good. Biracial baby, please don't cry. Biracial baby, please don't cry. Ozzy was black and she was white, and now they begin to realize it's hurting the child. And now they got to decide what is good for the child, and that was good. Grandma, grandpa wouldn't accept. They were so very upset. That wasn't good. But when they got to see the child, you could see love in their eyes, and that was good. Biracial baby, please don't cry. Biracial baby, please don't cry. The kids in school, they like to tease. They said my child home in tears. That wasn't good. I tried my best to explain, but it couldn't take away the pain. That wasn't good. I know someday there'll be a change, and all the hate will go away, and that is good. Although some people can't relate, only love.
It is evident that racial identity for biracial children is impacted greatly by social forces such as the family and community. The specific type of racial mix greatly influences how parents will label their biracial child. While the majority of black-white couples tend to label their children as black, the opposite is true for Asian-white couples, which tend to label their children as white. Additionally, children with a minority mother and white father are more likely to be labeled as white. Not only is the specific racial composition of the family an important factor, but other social environment factors are influential as well. It is quite clear that the racial composition of a child's school and neighborhood have an influence over how biracial children view their racial identity. Biracial children may feel pressured to choose one race over another rather than relate to both equally. Because society influences race, the biracial child may more readily reject what they view as the more oppressed race of their own background. Another social factor that greatly impacts how a child identifies race is the socioeconomic status of the family. The higher the socioeconomic standing of the family, the more likely that child was to identify away from the minority race. Another important aspect of this issue is the fact that biracial children are also more prone to feelings of isolation and confusion because the monoracial parents are unable to relate to the child's conflicting feelings about racial identification. America has been referred to as a melting pot of cultures, but our classifications of people have not changed at a rate comparable to the population's growing diversity. Throughout our nation's history, race has been an important factor in determining social advancements. As the country continues to diversify, this topic will continue to bear increased importance.
And that was good. Grandma, grandpa wouldn't accept. They were so very upset. That wasn't good. But when they got to see the child, you could see love in their eyes, and that was good. Biracial baby, please.